It's 3:03. I call the August 29th, 2023 meeting of the Durant Tourism Economic Development Authority to order. All right, Jim, would you give us an invocation, lead us in the flag salute?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the day that you give us, and that all of us are healthy and strong. Heavenly Father, let this meeting go as it's supposed to, and let us all understand each other. So, Heavenly Father, we thank you for that, and everybody in the room, we ask for you to give them health and peace and strength, even today and the days ahead. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first order of business is the minutes of the June 27th, 23 regular meeting.
Should we do a roll call?
Oh, okay, we do do a roll call. That's
I
right.
finally remembered something.
Right.
Trustee Anthony are here. Trustee Calhoun.
Here.
Trustee Reed.
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe.
Yes.
Vice Chairman DeWalt.
Here.
Chairman Shear.
Yes, here. Okay, now, the minutes of the June 27th meeting. Any questions, discussion?
Make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, would you call the roll?
Any discussion?
I don't have any on that one.
No.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Would you call the roll, Debbie?
Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Calhoun.
Yes.
Trustee Reed.
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe.
Yes.
Vice Chairman DeWalt.
Yes.
Chairman Shear.
Yes. The July 7th, 2023 meeting, or are we doing all, we have to do each one? We have to do,
I have a little discussion on it. It said I made a point of order, but it was a point of order that was made after this motion to remove Cole Walker, and then we went to the next subject, and I made a motion. You got me making that motion at the first meeting. But I made the motion after Cole Walker was removed as a signatory on my bank account. And then I made a motion, and we got into a discussion, and I kept saying point of order. I wanted to have motion, and the second dealt with before we went on any further, which we did, and we voted on it. And then the motion was made by Vice Chairman DeWalt, and we voted on it. And that's the way that the minutes should be.
Okay, so what exactly are you wanting changed?
Well, I didn't, over here, the motion by Trustee Calhoun wasn't made until after the motion to remove Cole Walker. And then I made that motion, and then a discussion arose, and I was saying point of order. I thought that the motion should be dealt with first because it was motion and seconded. That was my point of order. And we dealt with it, voted on it. It failed, and then we went on to the next motion and voted on it.
So exactly what are you wanting put in, Charlie?
Well, I don't know how to say it any different than what I
Well,
said
that's what I'm saying.
twice.
You're wanting it stated that you made a point of order?
No, you've got me making the motion
Well, first of all, I don't do these, so I don't have you.
Well, I know you look over them. I know you look over them. And I'm just saying, this is, it's in error.
So
in
you're
the-
wanting it put in there that you called for a point of order?
No, it's in there.
It wants to be.
It's just
put
in the wrong
sequence.
place. What I
In
want,
sequence.
what I want is in the proper sequence. The motion was made by Vice Chairman DeWalt to remove Cole Walker. We voted on that. Then the next point to be discussed was who was gonna sign the checks, and I made a motion. Then we got into a discussion, and my motion was seconded. We got into a discussion and talked for a while, and I kept saying point of order, and finally, I was asked what my point of order was, and I said, well, I've got a motion and a second on the floor, and we need to do something with that and then go on, which we did. That's the way I want it written.
So it needs to be placed. That needs to be placed before the motion made by Vice Chairman DeWalt to grant the signatory authority to me, Scott, and Debbie. You want that put in before that one, right?
Yes,
That's
the
what I'm
first
confused.
motion that was made was not my motion. The first motion that was made was to remove Cole Walker. And then we started to discuss, and I made a motion, and it was seconded. Then the discussion went on, and it looked like another motion was about to be ready to be made, and I said, point of order, and point of order. I said it several times. Finally, I was asked what my point of order was, and I said, we've got a motion and a second on the floor right now. We need to get that out of the way before we go on to anything else. And we did. We voted on it. It failed.
So do you want to amend the
Yes.
minutes to state that?
Yes,
Do you have a motion for that?
I'll make a motion that it be amended to reflect what I just went over.
Now we need a second.
Okay, second,
Second.
second, okay. Call the roll, Debbie?
Trustee Anthony, yes. I guess I should have abstained because I wasn't at that meeting. Abstain. Trustee Calhoun,
Yes?
Trustee Reed,
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe,
Yes.
Vice Chairman DeWalt,
Yes.
Chairman Shear.
Yes. Okay,
Now make a motion that we approve the minutes reflecting that. That was part of the motion that I made.
As amended.
as amended, okay. Second? Second?
I thought that-
I thought that was the
I
motion.
It
thought that's
was.
what we just
It's-
voted on.
We've already approved.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, amended, okay, all right. Brings us to the July 25th, 23 regular meeting minutes.
It should reflect who was here and who wasn't to show that there wasn't a quorum at the time that the meeting was put off.
It says declares no quorum at 3:15.
I make a motion that we amend it to list those that were not present and then accept it.
So it should, put in here the ones that are not here, right?
The ones that are here and the ones that are not here, and that shows that there wasn't a quorum.
Okay, we've got a motion Second?
I'll
Second, okay.
Sorry. Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Calhoun?
Yes.
Trustee Reed?
Abstain.
Trustee Thorpe?
Yes.
Vice Chairman DeWalt?
Yes.
Chairman Shear?
Yes.
Oh, I don't think you were here.
Oh, I wasn't here. I have to abstain. You're right. Sorry.
Debbie, I don't think. you
Oh,
were
yeah, I
here.
was not.
No.
Then the August 16th special meeting.
The same thing should be reflected there, since the chairman made a pronouncement.
Okay.
Make a motion to accept with the amended.
I'll second.
Second, okay.
Trustee Anthony? Oh, I'm abstaining. Trustee Calhoun?
Yes.
Trustee Reed?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Trustee Calhoun, you weren't here at that meeting.
I was.
No.
No, not on the
special meeting.
on the special meeting, the 16th.
Oh, I wasn't.
On
You were on the telephone.
I was here.
No, you spoke up over the phone.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
Trustee Thorpe?
I'm trying to grow younger.
You and me both. Vice Chairman DeWalt?
Yes.
Chairman Shear?
Yes,
Your voice was young.
okay. Item 2, the financial reports review, June and July 2023.
In your packets, you will see our last reports from the city. We do still have the money coming in like we do monthly into our bank account, and I don't have access to those bank statements right now, and one's not ready for us, so we'll have bank statements next month out of our new account.
And what's not available?
A bank statement from our new bank account.
When does the bank statement come in?
We are having problems accessing it, so I'm sure there's a report
What
out
bank
We
there.
is it?
actually, no one except those that have signatures have authority to do that. And that is Danny, Debbie,
What
and
bank is
Scott.
it in?
First United. So one of them will have to make the request.
Or did they send us a statement? Really?
Yeah.
They
Is
don't
there
just
a certain date
automatically
when they
send
get
us
the
statements?
Pardon?
They don't automatically
We just
send us
opened this
statements?
account.
You
Well,
have to
our
request
chairman
it.
could get it.
Someone.
Our
Yes, sir,
chairman.
he can.
Alright,
He
okay.
can. He's on the signature card.
Mhm.
He, Debbie, or Scott, either one, any of the three can.
Okay,
So,
we'll take care of it.
thank you.
Well, it should be the chairman unless he's
Maybe they're not gonna send one out every month?
unless he's gone or in the hospital.
Because of when it was activated, it hasn't been a full month.
Oh, okay.
So, because of the transaction and everything.
Is it gonna be that way from now on?
Pardon?
Is it that way from now on?
It won't be once he requests that it be mailed out.
Okay.
They usually have a certain date that they mail them out too for every business.
It's just gonna take a call, is all it'll take.
I mean,
So we'll have it by next month, this month, and next month too. right?
yeah, they always think it come out, sure they do it by the month, and we count it at the end of the month, I would think.
If you could give us authority to go ahead and put it online, we could print it automatically.
Okay.
Do we have our income sheet?
We have what the city was giving us monthly,
Where is it? What page is that?
and it also has not changed since the past 3 meetings, since we're behind.
Well, I didn't see, we didn't have one then either.
What page is it on?
Are you wanting to see what we pull in from the 5%?
Yes.
That is not in here, but I will grab it for next month. And we
It-
also are,
It's normally presented with
It's-
this packet.
it's usually behind because it comes from a different report from Ann Chin.
And she's no longer doing that report, and until we have the information, then we can't create the report. So we have to get authorization to get the bank statement to see. Ann Chin is depositing each month the account that we receive from the state
So can the-
into that account.
Can the chairman, when he calls the bank?
Yes.
Request that be done every month?
Yes, he can. He can.
Okay. Brings us to number 3. The grant wrap-up reports.
There are grant wrap-up reports for these 3. The PRCA Rodeo, the Magnolia Festival, and the Disc Golf Association. They all said that their events went great. If you need to look at any of their details, it's in your packet. I talked to Mike with the Durant Disc Golf Association today. He said it was the largest tournament in Oklahoma and that it was fabulous. So they're looking forward to next year.
Grace, you
Said it
have
was the largest what in Oklahoma?
Disc golf tournament.
and you have verified that everything was in all 3 of the grants
Yes,
to complete the process of the wrap-up?
right,
Okay.
right.
Do we need to do these one at a time, Chairman?
Yeah,
I-
I would think so.
I think we just review them. Do we have to vote on them?
We don't have to vote on it.
No,
we
no.
just,
I think we just need to ask if there are any questions about it.
yeah. Take the, Durant Riding Club, PRCA rodeo. That, what I see, that looks pretty good, yeah.
I've got one question on the riding club. At least this is what I had. I haven't gone through what I was just given, but we paid for alcohol, which I think we agreed not to do that in the beginning.
If we did, I don't recall that.
We did that the very first one we did, when they had somebody here from
Well,
On
it
this
would have
year-
been,
this
that would
year?
have been a mute thing because they have not served alcohol until the last 2 years. They've never had a naval
the,
license.
we paid, I know it was a moot thing, and now it's come up, and we had said that specifically, the first one we funded. And we also paid it for their meals, the alcohol they ordered during their meals. And then we paid, I mean, according to this,
They turn in their receipts. That does not necessarily mean, unless it's on their budget for that $10,000 amount, that was an expenditure.
okay, it wasn't on
Specifically.
there.
I said if it wasn't listed on their budget
Well,
as an expenditure.
That would be the way to keep us free from it. is
Yes, yes.
Just leave it off of that.
But they always,
The one you're talking about is on 39 and 40. You're talking about NF Nevis, and you're talking about, which distributor?
they always, we require that all of them, that all of the recipients of the grant turn in receipts. We don't specify just the receipts that for the $10,000 amount. So what they do is copy all of their receipts and put them in there.
Well, as long as that's not part of what they're asking for.
And
takes
that
care
should
of
be, that's explained on their budget, if you'll look, the expenses.
So there's $801 of them and $440 in the other.
Well, the income and expense report is there and shows what they have spent on each one of those.
You see that on 39 and 40.
And we contributed $10,000 and the total expense of the rodeo was $100,859. That's on page 16.
And then, pardon me, you said that this tournament went well?
The disc golf tournament went well, but we're talking about the rodeo right now, and they did say that that went very good too.
Yeah, I knew it. It's always good for us.
Mhm.
Okay. Magnolia Festival.
Discussion.
So on the Magnolia, how did that turn out?
The Magnolia Festival, it was awesome. It was very good.
I'm telling you, compared to last year, how did it turn out? More or less?
I haven't seen financials and stuff from last year, so I can't tell you that, but from my experience, it went over really well. Much larger than last year.
I know it grew quite a bit last year.
It grew this year tremendously. We probably had more at this one than we've ever had at a Magnolia Festival before.
Money wise?
I'm talking about people, the people that were coming in to the event.
$30,000-$40,000 or more?
No, actually revenue was down a little bit from what it was last year. But we don't make money on that. We don't charge anything except the vendor fee.
Wonder why it would be down. They just came and didn't spend?
Expenses were up
Expenses.
tremendously.
Yeah.
Everything, that's what I'm hearing from anyone that has done events
That
over
was
the past 2
That was
years.
the carnival.
The carnival was down,
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah.
financially.
That's-
And I think that has a lot to do with and that's the only place that we really make our money. And the carnival was actually down this year, and I think that's due to the economy. No, I think it's the economy.
I know the National Restaurant Association said that nationwide sales have been down
Yes.
every month this year.
Yeah. I just got another report on that today too, about the restaurants. So, it was a very successful event, but as far as revenue coming in, it was down a bit from what we have had as far as the carnival.
Okay.
What about the disc golf?
Disc-
How many participants did you have in that?
It should be in your packet. It's in
It
here.
was over there in the front of that package.
I'm just getting down here, let me see how many participants.
174,
And what page is that on?
67.
I saw that a while ago when I went through.
You saw it?
Mhm.
So that's good.
174.
Is this the first tournament we've had now?
This is the first of this scale that they have done, and with the help of us, they reached the largest tournament in Oklahoma, participant-wise and prize money-wise.
There's two numbers that I wonder how they came up with them. Maybe you can tell me. Hotel motel rooms used 49. Of other accommodations used 42. How did they get other accommodations?
Maybe Airbnbs or
That's what?
Airbnbs.
We don't
or
have that many
VRBOs.
Airbnbs here in town.
Were they including RVs? So these people have
I'm
vans
really
and
not
RVs
sure.
they
There are more Airbnbs than you think there are in this
Have they
community.
registered with us?
They're not registered with us, but they're registered with the state. They don't have to register with us.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
They're registered as a
The income that's
tax
coming
entity.
in, does it
We are
reflect that?
we are in the process. I've contacted the tax commission, and we are in the process of trying to get a list of those that contribute to the lodging tax.
So the ones that's inside Durant has.
The city
to pay,
limits.
And for the last 5 years, none of this has been paid.
I don't know if they'll give you that information to anybody other than probably the city manager.
I don't think they'll even give it to them, but
It's difficult. It's difficult. But they have confirmed that there are Airbnbs paying taxes into this. I've asked them for a breakdown. So
But it's public
that's all I can do at
It's
this
public
point.
records, it's gotta be public records.
My
That's what I
knowledge of it,
said.
that information goes only to.
yeah, that may not be available.
Be public records.
They won't divulge
It's
that.
not a public record, how much you give or I give or
Unless
anybody
they
turns in.
change.
It's not.
If there's not any other
No,
questions,
not-
I
okay.
will
Yeah, I
let you
can't
do
go
really.
Yeah, let's, okay, so,
Down in Texas, you can, but still here.
Okay.
I guess we verify that they actually used 49 rooms, do we? I mean, we just take the word for it.
That's what That's what Grace does.
Okay.
She actually goes through the packet and she verifies
Okay.
on
Okay.
everything. If
Okay.
they're minus things, then she calls and lets them know.
Okay, good deal. All right, that brings us to the new grants. Southeastern Foundation.
Mark
Yeah.
Webb is not here to present, but if you look in your packet, he has qualified for everything. This is what they use for home games at Southeastern, and Tailgate Alley, and any of their alumni association things around sports.
Grace, did he have the prize monies in there?
No, he was waiting to see if we approved the grant or not
That's
to get
right.
prize monies for the cook-offs.
Okay.
So we don't have the prize money on how much they give out for the barbecue and different things?
He's waiting until he knows if he's approved for this grant. If he is, then he'll raise the price. The plan is, I think, 1,500 spread among first, second, and third if he were to get the
Now,
grant.
the grant's for the whole season?
Yes. Which includes the first barbecue cook-off, and then at the end of the season, a chili cook-off.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Calhoun?
Yes.
Trustee Reed?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe? Vice Chairman DeWalt?
Yes.
Chairman Shear?
Yes. Three Valley Museum.
Would you guys like to come present? Is there anything you'd like to say?
Do y'all need to talk tomorrow?
You're approved.
Well, thank you.
Would you like to say something while you're here?
Give a rundown, please.
You're never at a loss for words.
Mentioned to Grace, I had a meeting at 2 today, so I apologize for not being here today, but thank you. We have already started pre-promotion of our tailgates. One of the things that we've done is just some communication with alumni. To date, 147 was the number this morning that have responded to actually RSVP that they're going to show up, which is kind of nice. A lot of them will require a hotel. They'll be eating meals in our town, and so anyway, we think we're doing a good thing. I like the idea now that we put out there a few days ago that we had some prize money, and it was increased this year for our cook-offs, and so I'm glad to hear that we did get approved, because I was going to have to find that money. So that was that's a good thing. But
So the prize money for the top prize for the barbecue?
yeah, for the barbecue and the chili.
And how much was that?
So $750 is going to be the top prize. $750, $500, and $250 are the amounts that we've publicized. We'll do that for both the barbecue and the chili cook-offs. One thing of note, because we've used the money for entertainment as well, Zach Ray is a Southeastern graduate. He's in Nashville right now, released an album last year, but he'll be our entertainment at the chili cook-off. And then Lee.
If you raise the prize money for
Yeah.
the barbecue to $2,500, do you think that'd pull more people in?
I think possibly, yeah. One of the things that we've kind of considered is there's some sanctioning, type opportunities. The beauty of the True Blue is that cooks don't have to be on site until just a few hours before tailgate. There's an opportunity to grow that thing to, like the folks that you see on TV, to come into town and bring their rigs. That's probably going to even require a little more coordination, which we're perfectly happy with. But those folks have to be on site, 24 hours prior to judging, and there is some sanctioning involved in a lot of that. I know it's like Cassie sanctioning for chili, but there's kind of the same thing for barbecue. But we would consider possibly,
Is
yeah.
there many that will come in the day before if the prize money is raised?
Yeah, I don't know. Quite frankly, that's we could do some outreach to some folks that are doing it in maybe in neighboring communities or states and kind of see what that looks like. But to stay in good graces and to keep doing this each year, we would look into it, and we can research it and see for sure.
And I didn't notice, I didn't pass by this year the day before.
Yeah.
I guess there was some barbecue.
Yeah, there'll be, this year's game is at 6 o'clock, and so it's later in the day, but we'll have folks there, starting that morning. And we did have, homecoming weekend. We'll have some folks that park their campers in the, in the parking lot. We'll try and get them to stay in a hotel maybe instead of that camper, and stay with you guys. But anyway, I think we've got an opportunity. We just hired 3 student workers this week, 3 Cracker Jacks, and one of the great challenges that we've issued to them is to help us to be able to provide a little better analytics on the back of this, to stay in touch with your business and your business and your businesses, just to kind of figure out maybe to identify maybe a little better what the impact is for for tailgating at Southeastern. Unfortunately, this year there's 6 games and not 5 at home.
So do you think the person, who did you say it was, that is going to record in Nashville?
His name is Zach Ray. Yeah, he was a quarterback. He was a backup quarterback. He's a better singer than he was a quarterback. And he's in Nashville right now. He was excited because we booked him for the chili cook-off, which was November the 11th. And he said that he's really excited because the band he's got has a fiddle and a steel guitar. So he's pretty tickled about that. So,
well, maybe in the future, we don't know.
Yeah.
If he becomes a star and has quite a few hits or a few hits.
No doubt.
Maybe he would come back to his alma mater and have
for
a
sure.
concert and
Yeah.
raise 10, 20, 30,000.
Raise some more money, yeah. And Brian Lee's the name I was trying to think of. Brian's going to play at our True Blue Barbecue. He'll be here on the 9th and that little one-man show. So.
Did you say there had to be some sort of permitting for participants?
No. So right now it's free, and I think we require them to be on site and ready to go. Just a few hours, literally before the judging. And so I think in order for us to maybe take it to another level where we're attracting folks that really travel for this kind of an event, there may be some kind of sanctioning. I don't know what those things are. What the names of those organizations are. But I think that might help if we had some kind of sanctioning like that. It might help, and then of course we could raise the prize money as well.
If you bring it up to 2,500,
Yeah. Okay.
where they're required to be there 24 hours beforehand.
Yeah.
And they'll have to stay overnight.
Yeah. So we could certainly do that.
Thank you, Mark.
Awesome. Thank you all very much. Much appreciated. Come out and eat with us on the 9th. Alumni Relations Barbecue. If you're on the judging panel, Alumni Relations Barbecue. All right. We'll be entered. Yeah. All right.
Thanks, Bob.
Blind.
I think he's throwing his name up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got one. I got to be at 4 now. So.
Okay, Greg, give us your.
How are y'all doing?
Good.
Hey, I'm Greg Phillips. I'm the president of the board of the Three Valley Museum. And here with me today, Nancy Ferris is the director. Jeff Monroe is another board member. And so we kind of heard y'all's discussions regarding recessions, vendor prices up, expenses up, things up. And so we came up with this idea, and we're trying to think outside the box at how to bring people to Durant, how to bring people to our museum, looking at more of an educational family experience and bringing in families to do something that's really exciting. So we took a field trip, our board did, up to the Jasmine Moran Museum up in Shawnee. They were having an exhibit that we're going to be talking about. And so in partnership with the Oklahoma Science Museum, we met with them. They came down here, they've done some studies, and so that's what we're here today to present. And so Nancy's going to talk a little bit about it to get into the specifics of the actual plan.
Well, it's good to see you all here again. It's been a while since we've been here. 2019, we were here to bring the wall that heals, and you all had such an impact on that experience. So today we want to talk to you about bringing a new event to our city that will last for a full year. The Oklahoma Science Museum has changed their way of doing things because everything is changing, right? And we have to adapt to those changes. So what we have done is talk to them about bringing exhibits here, two, in fact, that will last for 6 months at a time. One of them is a big Legos exhibit where kids can come. That seems to be a thing that our museum, as wonderful as it is and as great as it is in telling the story of Durant, southeastern Oklahoma, and this area, we lack in the ability to interest younger people. So another exhibit that they have available to us is a dinosaur exhibit. So if you have kids or grandkids, you know that there is no little boy in the world who can't tell you by the time he's 3 years old all these big long names of dinosaurs and things. So we will have that exhibit on hand as well for 6 months. I think that will attract a lot of people to Durant and to our area. School trips, I think, will be wanting to come here. There's nothing like this between Shawnee and probably Dallas, and there's nothing to the east that's anything close to that, or to the west. I think sometimes the Oklahoma Science Museum carries exhibits to the Lawton area and to Tulsa, but as far as our part of the state, there'll be nothing else like it. So we hope with this exhibit we can expand our hours and our days and maybe include a weekend day or an evening for groups to come in and children to come in, families to come and see these exhibits, because it will kind of give the science behind our history. We're not doing away with the history that we have, but you know, it's hard to believe, but we will have been on Main Street 20 years next June. So that time has just flown by. We have won awards across the state for our exhibits and the programs that we've done. Our Journey Stories program has been great. You know, it started out with maybe 10 or 12 people coming, and now there are like 60 people and above that come every time that we have a journey story. So I think that people are interested in something solid and real, and I think that it's up to us to tell our story and not let history be written. You know, we have such a colorful history here and such a great facility that I believe that we can bring people in. I think that, and you all are much better at this than I am, but I think that families are looking for a place to go, to spend the day, to have some things to do, spend the night, and get back home to get ready to go to work on Monday. So I think this will give them that opportunity to come and be able to play with their kids, even though it's kind of set up for young people. They're exhibits that adults can play as well. So we are coming to you today to ask for your help in bringing these exhibits to our museum. The Oklahoma Science Museum, I'll tell you, has been working very hard to become accredited with the Smithsonian Institute. They've been working on that for about 3 to 5 years, I believe is what they said. There is a whole lot to that. And I'm hoping that since we are going to be celebrating our 20th anniversary next year on Main Street, that that can be a project, something that we can be looking forward to in the future too. If we can become acquainted with them, then maybe that will link us to the Smithsonian. And can you imagine the possibilities if we can be connected with the Smithsonian right here in Durant, Oklahoma? And I believe that will bring in tourism from the south as well. We have a lot of people who come to the casinos, and the wife stays and plays, and the husband's looking for something to do. You know, so they come to the museum a lot to really find out more about us and who we are. And I think that this project will really enhance that and give another wow to our city. So we're just hoping that you all will think so too.
Just looking at the total money generated, you got over $1 million.
Yep.
That Three Rivers Museum brought in over that much money?
No, we believe that this exhibit over a year's time will bring in enough people who will buy gas, spend the night, eat a meal, all that. If their families consider a family of 4 staying over, we're hoping that they will spend that kind of money here. And we went kind of by the example that was given to us on this, this grant that kind of gave us some ideas because of how much people would spend per person while they were shopping, eating, staying,
And your
that kind
money
of thing.
generated is gonna be, you've got a couple of different fold on your money generated. Your money generator is gonna not only come from parents who are bringing their kids for these Tinker Toys or different types of exhibits looking in, but a lot of it's gonna come from, say, Kingston schools, Medill schools, other people bringing their kids to actually come down and look, or Texas, say Denison or Sherman, bringing busloads of kids into town. Whenever they bring the busloads of kids into town to do an exhibit, they have to look at somewhere to eat. So you're looking at busloads of kids that are going into different places to eat, and that's generating revenue. Once those kids get home, those kids are gonna be talking about how they saw this dinosaur, they saw a T-Rex, or they saw a raptor, or they saw this. Well, guess what? That's gonna turn around and get the parents to where they wanna take the other kids, their other kids. So those parents will be coming up to Durant to visit. And whenever those parents come up to Durant to visit, you have Choctaw at nighttime, you have other events that could happen, and they stay. It's kind of like you had asked Mr. Calhoun earlier about the others for where people stay. People do stay in RVs a lot. People do stay in Airbnbs that are outside of Durant a lot. But if you have an exhibit, a lot of times people will stay close so that they can get to it at a faster pace, or they can get to it before it opens or closes. So they'll tend to stay close in those vicinities to do that. And that's where a lot of this income is generated at.
And so this number is realistic, it's a realistic number, it's not a high number?
That's a realistic number that we could generate in income. I mean, you've got to look from when we went to Oklahoma City and spoke to them, and whenever we went to Seminole and saw their exhibit, they all started small. The Oklahoma City even stated how small they had started in such a large area. And you gotta, if y'all haven't been up there, you need to. It's extremely impressive. I mean, the number of people who go through there, the exhibits that they have, it's well managed. And by us doing this exhibit, it's getting us in partnership with someone who has been where we are now and excelled. So it's huge for somebody in Durant, or for a company in Durant, to turn around and state that they are working with Oklahoma Science Museum. That in itself will bring people.
Well, by those numbers, they'll be huge. I've had dealings with you, and you're a very efficient backer, so.
I'm very excited about this project. I just, when I saw the grant and saw the Oklahoma Science Museum, as you stated, Jeff, I just think that I really think that this is something that definitely is a worthwhile project. I really do. And anything that we can do to extend the hours, and I know how difficult it's been since COVID. So I'm excited. I think we have one of the best kept secrets in that museum of any community. And I'd love to see it opened more.
Well,
and I think this can help.
We've talked on the opening more and how we can do it as far as limited funds and everything that we have. We've gotten with several different groups in the area, different service organizations. And we've looked at possibly doing like volunteer hours through the service organizations. Right. So that way it would allow us to be open for longer periods of time while we are making money to self-sustain. So it's a way to kind of get everything going the way it needs to go. I mean, we've been in existence for a while. It's time for us to move forward. It's time for us to adapt, like Nancy said, to the way that we need to adapt to. The only way we're going to adapt is sometimes you've got to spend money to adapt. You've got to bring things that people want to see. Dinosaurs are something that people will always want to see. The Oklahoma Science Museum, by us going in partnership with them, they make their own stuff. So if you go there, they have machinists. They have a whole area that is dedicated to machinists to make their own deals. So they make things that are meant for these market studies and meant for bringing people in. And that's what this will do.
The whole time that we were visiting with the management there about these exhibits, his phone would go off, the alarm would go off on his phone, and he'd go, "I'm sorry, this is telling me that we have 6,000 people in our building," or "This is telling me that we now have 6,500 people in the building." So I don't want that many people in our building. I'll be running down the street with my hair on fire. But,
Well, if they're not in the building, can you send them down Main Street?
yeah, but wouldn't that be great if we had an overflow and they could go browse around and come back and, just kind of keep the area busy?
You start doing stuff like this and you start opening yourselves up. Durant has a lot of people in it. Durant has a lot of wealth in it. The Seminole one got started, they kind of went past the level by somebody donating money to them. It was an oil tycoon who donated money to them, and what they've done, that was more impressive to me than Oklahoma City was. It's something.
Amazing. It is.
But I would love to see us be able to go in those areas. But in order for it to do it, we have to show that we have the ability to want to move forward, and that we want people in there and we want kids in there to learn. So this is a way for us to do that.
Can I make a suggestion it excites me that you're branching out now and that we've got the possibility of something from the Smithsonian Institute coming here. I'm just might throw this out, the people on the East Coast and the West Coast look at Tulsa and Oklahoma City as being out in the sticks. And if they look at them as being in the sticks, how do they look at us? And so I'm wondering if it could be a tool in your bag to use the fact that we are not an urban area, that we would be bringing things to a non-urban area that possibly people there would never even think about seeing. And that excites me if you do something like that. I mean, I made a trip to Tulsa to see an art exhibit that they were having. It would be nice if we had something like that sometime. But I just think we need to play on the fact that we are a non-urban area, that we're out in the sticks, and you'll be able to bring that kind of education to people out in these areas.
I make a motion that we accept the grant and move forward.
On the grant, now, am I getting it right? Is this the 10,000 grant for this
Yes.
year?
Yes.
Or is it per quarter?
It says per quarter.
And that's what we were gonna ask is, how often can you make a presentation? The cost of this exhibit is $47,500. Can you come back at the second exhibit? Can you come back quarterly? How does the tourism?
$10,000 per year. We have the $5,000 for a smaller, grant, and then we have a $10,000
Okay.
per year for a larger grant.
Okay, so that's per year.
Chairman? Well, you have a motion, but we have done larger ones, so that's
And
not
special
totally.
projects.
Special projects and such.
Full
My fear of just doing 10,000 is them getting started and having enough runway to finance this through a year of what I would consider to be like a pilot project. So, Janet, I was assuming when you made the motion, it was for 4 quarterly installments of 10, if that's correct, or?
I was making, because we cap it at 10,000, and that's
Acceptable.
internal.
Okay.
That's what we've set that at. I certainly, there again, I think that we have had special projects, and I really think that this merits looking at that differently. I would be willing,
Tourism
let's,
is all about, that's our business, is
Right.
tourism.
Right.
And I think that's what that's what tourism is all about.
I would love,
Trying to
I know
bring
the
people
10.
to our city.
Oh, I'm sorry, Debbie.
Oh, that's okay.
And to
I
keep
know
in
the
mind
10
I'm sorry.
I know the $10,000 is needed to go ahead and jumpstart, to get you started. Right now, the way that our minutes read from past is that we have to cap it at $10,000. That does not mean, though, that they cannot bring that back as a special project later on. Correct?
Correct.
it would be dependent upon a lot of things. We've got a schedule that we've thought about and set forth, and actually y'all studied and set forth.
Right.
And I think we ought to stick with it right now, because we'll have a lot of other people that have special projects.
Well, like the fall concert series, we didn't follow the cap on that one.
But that's because
Special project.
that's because it is a special project, but it is ran strictly by Discover Durant.
If you made a motion that, you know,
I make a motion that we
$10,000
accept the
capital
$10,000 and move forward with this particular
and
amount.
not per quarter.
And not per quarter.
I'll second.
Okay.
Can I ask real quick one thing? Just so I make sure. So we're going into September, so it's $10,000 for this quarter for the year. So next year, does that mean a year from today, or does that mean next year we would be able to come back? Reason why I'm asking is, say in January or next quarter, if we come back and we show how this has done and how much it has actually brought into Durant, then would we be able to ask for it again at that time? Or do we have to wait a year from today?
Well, our schedule has been set up for several years now at $10,000 annually.
It's from
There's a
July
lot of other
1
people that come
through
too.
June the 30th. It's
Okay,
our
that's what I was
fiscal year.
wondering was what the
Yes,
year end
that's
was.
our fiscal year.
Okay.
I think that we would be open. You would have to submit it, and then we could move forward from that point. But as Charlie said, right now, the standard practice that we had voted on, which is in the minutes, is that we cap the grants at $10,000. And we're eligible for that one time a year.
Okay, I was just curious on your end.
Yeah.
That's why I was curious then.
And I just want to make this point too. I think the things that you all usually give to is for an event that might last a weekend or one day. This is an event that will last a full year. So that's something else that's
We
different.
appreciate everything y'all
Yeah.
have done. We appreciate y'all letting us hear.
And I think that's a
Hills-
valid point.
The Wally Hills was real good. People who don't understand that as much. Veterans do. But that wall right there was by the blood of our veterans.
Yes.
And the reason that we're sitting here today and we have the freedom is in World War II and Korea, Vietnam, all of these wars. If we had lost those, we would not be sitting here today. And that was a powerful step to have that happen.
It was. Yeah, thank you. Okay.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you for coming.
There's a motion on the floor.
Okay. We got the motion, we call it.
Question. Let's vote on
Okay.
We got a motion second.
Have a second.
Yeah.
Who's the
Debbie
second?
Yeah, I second it.
Okay.
Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Calhoun,
it. Yes.
Trustee Reed,
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe,
Yes.
Vice Chairman DeWalt,
Yes.
Chairman Shear.
Yes.
You think
Thank
you're okay?
y'all.
Thank
Thank
you.
Okay. All right. Richard Zell, you're up, the 2024 solar eclipse.
All right. How's everybody today? Like I said, my name is Richard Ezel. I'm with the City of Durant Emergency Management, and Janet had asked me to come speak to y'all over the solar eclipse that's going to happen April 8th, 2024. So approximately 6 months or so, and like it says, ready or not, it's coming. And by that, it's coming is going to be the cult following that is going to be coming with it. And so the total eclipse in April is going to enter Oklahoma around Liberty, Oklahoma, here in Bryan County. Durant itself is not going to be affected, but the totality of everything going on is going to affect Durant. And so as you can see there from that map, the northern limit of the total eclipse is going to enter Bryan County down around Liberty and go up through about Dteda, Bennington area. And then to right at Poto is along that line. And then the central line of the total eclipse is going to go right over McCurtain County. Idabel, Hochtown, Broken Bow, that area. So we in emergency management have been planning for 18 months out on this, trying to get ready for the onslaught of people that follow these types of events around. And we don't want to be caught not being prepared. So like I said, we've been planning. There's been part of 3 state meetings between Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas, southeastern Oklahoma. So Janet just wanted me to come get a lot of this. I will go through and probably skip because this is prepared for a different group on, things that we have to be prepared for that really doesn't necessarily concern y'all, but I just wanted to make sure because a lot of people still don't even know about it, that it's going to happen. And I believe this is a Monday. I've already been talking with Dwayne Meredith at Durant High School, and he wants me to present this to the county school board or the county superintendent's meeting, and that it may be a good idea to let school out that day. Because there is a lot of issues that could potentially and probably will happen in this area. So from the time it enters Oklahoma, see if this will work on that TV. Nope. So down around Liberty, it will stay in Oklahoma for approximately 3 minutes until it leaves out of Oklahoma into Arkansas. So the timeline, there will be one this year in a little over a month and a half from now. It is actually going to be in South Texas area. So this is going to be a training event for what will come in 2024. Now the one this year is just not a total eclipse. You will still have the ring around and still be daylight, where the one in April 2024, there will be up to 4 minutes and 27 seconds of total darkness during the middle of the afternoon. So what happens if you live in, because people always ask me, well, why is people going to flock to Durant, Oklahoma? Well, they're not necessarily going to flock to Durant because we are not the center line of one, but we are a major corridor of getting to those areas. And we are the closest one that has major hotels, recreational things because it's coming off of a weekend, restaurants. So Janet has told me she's been in contact from a European group that's already booked here, a group of 80.
Yes, and that came from the state tourism department.
And so, so we have to be ready for what's going to occur during, or actually before, during, and after the event.
What time of day is it scheduled?
Here in just a minute, I will show you. It's going to be between noon, 1 o'clock time frame in the middle of the afternoon. But as I was getting at, what happens when it turns totally dark? The lights in town come on. Well, people want to be able to experience total darkness. They want to, hear the crickets start, the wolves, coyotes start howling, whatever, in the darkness. And that has happened with the other total eclipse. So people want to get away from urban areas and get into rural Oklahoma, for one, to experience this. And again, my pointer won't work, but southeast Oklahoma, McCurtain County is a really rural area. So let me back up, and I'll have to get a little bit closer. So for us, we have approximately, in our area, Durant will not be in total darkness like around Liberty, but they will have a little less than 2 minutes of darkness. And it'll be a little bit light because it's on the edge, but because we're not on the center line. But and then it could be up to 4 minutes and 27 seconds along the center line. So there, as it kind of moves across the country, 1:45 Central Daylight Time over the central United States. So, Mr. Calhoun, to answer your question, somewhere in that time for 12 to 1 o'clock over this area. So 2017 was the first total eclipse to traverse the continental United States since 1918. Small communities across the nation faced logistical nightmares at the number of tourists that impacted their areas. Infrastructure was a problem across the nation. Different approaches were taken, including hiring outside support organization to organize a festival-like environment. And it has been, you can go to, I believe it's solareclipse.com, something like that, and it lists by state and then by towns all the festivals and stuff that they've already set up for this. So preparations were made in some areas to prepare for a Super Bowl-like event in their towns and surrounding areas. So planning authorities were met with skepticism from some of the residents and agencies, showing their disbelief that their area would receive an uptick in visitors. And another issue that was that when they were planning for these events, by the time the event happened, there was turnover in the businesses, the public safety that has planned for this, and so then you got new people taking over that didn't plan for it. So state and local agencies must coordinate with all activities to have an successful event, and then ensure there are multiple redundancies for all types of communications is essential. And I believe I'll talk about it later, but as we know, if you've traveled to Broken Bow, Ho Chi Town, until the last couple of years, cell phones were almost non-existent down there unless you were part of Pine Cellular. But still, they're not great, and any kind of public communications is not great because of the terrain and just economic status of McCurtain County. So some of the lessons they learned were, and like I said, this really doesn't pertain to y'all, but just we will have to pre-stage equipment because you're looking at fuel, rooms, groceries, water, anything for these people to come in. And then I'll get to it in a minute, but roadways. Every road in and out of McCurtain County is a 2-lane road. Think of Highway 70 going to Boat Cheeto, and that's what every road in McCurtain County is like. And this is a map of McCurtain County roads. So each one of those are 2-lane roads. So for us in emergency management, I'm the Southeast representative for Oklahoma Emergency Management for all of southeastern Oklahoma from I-40 south to I-35 east. So I am the representative to the state emergency management. And so we have a potential nightmare where this is going to be in Oklahoma. So approximately 1:40, it's going to be over the Dallas-Fort Worth area. 1:50 will be out of Oklahoma, so 1:45-ish, and that's how fast it's traveling and everything. This right here shows how many people by state live inside the path of the total eclipse. You can just kind of look at those numbers. Again, it's going to go right over the Dallas-Fort Worth area, so people are going to want out of Dallas-Fort Worth into a rural area. And they go to Ho Chi Town a lot. So, how many people live inside or near the path of the total eclipse? It's a lot of people. We're not saying near that will come, but it's the potential, just taking a percentage of that coming into this area. So just for yourselves, you'll want to make sure your cars are full of fuel. Make sure you got plenty of groceries, because leading up to the week, maybe weeks prior, groceries may be a hard commodity to get, water, bottled water.
Toilet paper.
Yeah, toilet paper. How long does it take to drive to the path of the solar eclipse for people that live outside the area? So if you'll look, I mean, a day's drive and you can have a lot of people in this area. And being over-prepared is not a bad thing. We want to prepare all personnel from all necessary agencies to be on duty. Again, this isn't to y'all, but like I said, there's almost a cult following for this, so it's good for tourism. So I mentioned this to Janet back last summer, and told her, you know, hey, this may be a way to start making some money looking at tourism options for this area. I think Scott mentioned he was going to try to make a brew for an eclipse brew. So businesses are renting parking spots, parking lots for people to park, camping. There's already farmers that have started renting their farmland out for RVs, campsites. I know Mark was telling me Southeastern in Idabel, they are renting their parking lot spots out for people to camp, to set up vendor booths, whatever, at the Southeastern Annex in Idabel. Hotels sell out early on, then selling events, souvenirs, gadgets, and selling food. Number one thing is selling a positive experience for people to come back to our area. You know, that they'll want to know that, hey, we want to come back there. We want to go to that Three Valley Museum to see the dinosaur exhibit, whatever it may be. But what can go wrong? So it's in April, so everybody knows severe storm season in Oklahoma goes from January 1st to December 31st, but our premier severe weather is March through June, and so this is April right dead in the middle of it. And with all that being public land, well, I say all, a lot of public land in McCurtain County, so there will be a lot of people that will just be out and nobody knows where they are. So that is going to be a potential problem if we have severe weather that happens in that area. And then again, we're talking about rural mountainous area with a lot of public land, so you got camping, and you could have lost people, kids, because they're not familiar. Your Second Amendment rights. A lot of people in urban areas thinks what's theirs is theirs and what's yours is theirs, and they're just going to come squat on your land, basically. Well, a lot of people in this area don't like that. So there could be those kind of issues. I don't know if you've seen the news last night. A college student tried to enter the house that looked just like his next door and was shot and killed. So, and then communications in southeastern Oklahoma is a pain. And then you've got ingress and egress of McCurtain County, kind of like I talked about, all two-lane roads, very mountainy terrain, fuel availability, food, water, toilets, porta potties, they've already been booked out. And so, again, like I said, when's the last time you've been in Hochtown over the weekend? So basically, just don't let this event cause major issues. Just kind of be prepared. And that's just, I think Janet just wanted me to come talk to y'all about this and just let you know.
Yeah, in 2017, I was thinking about going up to Missouri to look at the full blackout like that. What makes you think that we're on the edge of this whole blackout? If I was going to go look at that, I would go down toward McKinney and Dallas and look at the full one, because we're just almost on the outskirts of that. So you think that means people are going to just stay here instead of going 60 and 75 miles south and picking up the whole eclipse?
Well, but if you go down to the Dallas area where the total eclipse is going to be, when the lights go out and it gets dark, all the street lights and parking lot lights come on, so it is not dark. And so people want to get to a rural area. I'm not saying they're going to come here, per se. We might have some, we will have some that come to Durant area that don't want to mess with going to the totality in McCurtain County. But, you know, we need to be prepared here too, because we are coming from Oklahoma City west, the northwest. Now, if they come straight north, they'll probably go down the turnpike. But we're a major egress and ingress route to those areas.
Sure. But you have McKinney down there before you get to Dallas. I'm just saying, we're on the outskirts of this, and I can't imagine that people are gonna stop here instead of going down to McKinney and get the full.
Again, there's lights in McKinney.
What?
There's lights in McKinney that will come on.
It's gonna be relative, because if you go out with a telescope now, you can't see near as much here in town with a telescope at night as you can if you go north of town where it gets darker and darker.
And I agree. And I was kind of skeptical.
It's gonna be relative.
I was kind of skeptical at first, kind of when I heard this, because I've never experienced a total eclipse. So I got on YouTube and watched some of the videos from up in Montana or Wyoming area, and it went total darkness. The coyotes started howling and everything, and that's what people want to experience, is the total darkness, because it may be a once in a lifetime event for them.
And what we want to captivate are those tourists that are going to stay overnight in Durant, Oklahoma, as they are traveling further east to see the total eclipse. One of the things that, if you will look on page 121 of your packet, thank you, Richard.
Oh, you're welcome.
Grace, you may want to do the presentation on this for us.
So to look at the eclipse, everybody has eclipse glasses, and what we've put together are glasses that we could purchase to fill hotel rooms with, which you can't tell, so I'm going to show you on my phone.
What we are proposing is that we purchase 3,000 glasses at that, you'll see that on the next page, and put those in the hotel room, give those to the hotels, so that the hotels will have those available to give to their guests.
They have our logo right in the front, the date with Durant, Oklahoma, and our website, discoverdurant.com. So we're basically just looking for approval to spend money out of our promotions budget to buy some of these and put them in your hotels and all around town, restaurants and anything that's happening that weekend when people are traveling through. It's a cool souvenir.
Yes. So the total cost would just be that 11,000?
Yep, for 3,000 glasses.
Well, I'll make a motion, we let them print the glasses off and distribute them around town for the $1,190.
What kind of money are we talking about?
1,090, I think it says.
Page 122 is an invoice for it, an estimate.
1,190. Well, since we're on the edge, people are gonna be looking at the sun. And if we're not gonna have 100% here, they're gonna have something to look through. I remember back 20 years ago or more, I went out to the college to look through a telescope at an eclipse. The physics department had it all set up, and we had to put something on to look through the telescope because we were still seeing a little bit of the sun because we were kind of on the edge at that time. people that stay around here are gonna need it.
Yeah,
Probably anywhere, because they're gonna start looking before it happens, and they're gonna look at it till the last time they can look at it.
Yeah, I remember in school even, and I guess there hadn't been a full one, but we'd have to poke a little bitty hole in the paper to look through it.
Keep in mind though,
That's
what
not
we're,
as good, though.
keep in mind, we're not wanting these for local distribution, we're wanting to give to tourists that are
Yeah.
coming through to encourage them to use them when they go out. So that's the main
But how are we
purpose of it.
gonna tell them all about that?
They're gonna know.
Oh, they know about it.
There's not going to, we are not going to have to do you mean, how do we let them know that we've got eclipse glasses in our hotels?
Yeah.
Well, we'll get the message out. That's what social media is for. And anyone staying in the hotel overnight will get complimentary eclipse glasses.
Anytime you all go to any kind of a meeting, I think we need to mention it. Maybe
Oh, yeah.
have one to show.
Yeah,
We'll have those available.
yeah. And we can get these in.
If we're gonna use it, we need to use it.
What,
How many
Richard?
glasses are gonna be produced?
It said
Didn't you say
over here, how
3,000?
many?
3,000.
3,000.
It's on this one. Richard had said that someone at that meeting,
think we're
Richard,
all
had
getting
stated
those,
that they are
Use it for
expecting these to be in high demand, and that if they're not ordered now, that they will not be available.
You'll have a
Yes, that's what I have read, that a lot of people
I'm talking about ahead
were
of
already
time to get them.
ordering them and they were already getting out of supply.
When I was in New Mexico this summer and went through one of their,
That mean that you're going, 3 or 4 days ahead of time, you're gonna go to KX, that line, K10, and explain this?
Am I?
Yeah.
Not unless they wanna talk to me about it.
They talk to you.
I think
You know,
that they'll
ahead of time
probably
beforehand,
interview
When they
him.
know this is coming, sure, if you mention it and tell them what you're doing, they'll talk to you. You can free advertisement.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
I think that's a good idea, Jim. I think if we're gonna do it, we need to blow it up as much as we can.
When you were in New Mexico, what? Start something?
When I was in New Mexico, I toured a museum. It was a nuclear museum. But they already had their eclipse glasses on sale, and it was for the one in October, because I think that's the one that's gonna come through their area. But they were selling for $5 a pair. And so that just gives you kind of a feel for the value of these things.
So can
When
we
they
sell
come
it
into-
for $1 per?
No, not if tourism buys them, you can't.
The question I've got is what liability will we have if it doesn't do what it's supposed to do?
We won't have any liability because you're giving them the glasses.
Well, there'll be liability.
Yeah, they will.
What are they gonna sue us for? The glasses?
No, they'll sue us for hurting their eyes. Just believe me, they will. If
Somebody will.
if it works, I mean, if they work,
Yeah.
they won't. That's something we gotta make sure about.
Well, maybe we could write on the back, this is not guaranteed to save your eyes during an eclipse.
Well, but I'm
Like a
telling
pack
you,
of cigarettes.
it's a possibility when you're looking at it in
disclaimer on
the
it.
sun. You can ruin your eyes looking at the sun.
Mhm.
That's
Debbie,
the
did you
only
make a
thing that
motion?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I think Debbie made a motion.
I thought Scott made a motion a while ago.
I think Scott, did you second?
Did you make a motion?
No.
Did you?
Debbie
here next
seconded. Debbie made the motion.
I'll second it if we make sure that there's, whoever's making these for us has the liability insurance for them.
You can ask.
Well, I will look into that.
Cause you can burn your eyes pretty easy, particularly if they're sensitive eyes.
Y'all ready to vote?
You gotta have a vote.
Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Calhoun?
Yes.
Trustee Reed?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Yes.
Vice Chairman DeWalt?
Yes.
Chairman Shear?
Yes. Okay. Number 7.
On page 123, there is
Thank
a
you, Richard.
proposal.
Thank you.
Sorry.
There's a proposal from a company called Community Matters. They print full-size printed maps.
What page is that on?
123.
127?
123.
3.
And all we're looking for here is if you guys are interested in seeing a printed map. People come to the chamber all the time asking for a printed map. The city doesn't have maps, we don't have maps. So if this is something that maybe Discover Durant wants to take the charge on, I can work with this company to get some maps.
We have people asking for maps all the
What is this
time.
for? A map?
Do you have an example of what they put
It's
out?
a large folded map.
Really?
Yeah, but what does it, yeah, there's maps and then there's maps. What does it look like?
A map.
Like a
I asked for
statement.
that.
Yeah, I'll explain something even to best person. What it is maps are pretty well outdated. It's just like a pay telephone beside a motel or whatever. We used to have Moran McNally that did a national map, and that would sponsor dinners out there. They're nowhere around. You know what? If anybody wants anything anymore, it's on that phone. Garmin was doing the whole thing. They had one in the car, and now nobody uses it. It's iPhone. So, you know.
I disagree. I agree with you. That's the way I find stuff.
I think your maps and your Rand McNally maps are outdated.
Brandon McNally maps, no, but the map of Durant, I have people asking all the time, and we've got just the glimpse of it in the middle of Discover Durant book, but it's not detailed enough. But I have people ask for maps all the time, and that's the one we get out, and then we run out of those.
They really look for a map?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we can-
And they still look at all the little rack cards and,
Right,
yeah.
when they ask for a map.
I still like paper.
You're not there
maps.
enough.
Paper maps are coming back, they are saying.
Anybody
They're
under 50 does
collectibles.
not look at maps like that. Us, we'll look at maps, but you know, you take people 40 years old and under, they don't look at maps.
We have a lot of new people coming into town and even new police officers that don't know our streets. And we can't help them either because we don't have maps, but they are also online, so that's up to you guys.
Is there a cost involved here? I mean, I'm not seeing,
I don't either.
I'm not seeing.
It says we get 15% over $10,000 revenue. I guess they're gonna sell ads.
That's
Do
typically,
they just want permission from us to do this? They're not wanting money.
they typically will sell ads, fill them all up. We can also talk to them if we just pay outright, have the Discover Durant logo on these maps and whatever information we
Do
want.
these ads, I mean, does this map point out where different places are with the name?
It should have a code.
It's
No,
just like a directory would be.
I'm
You
like,
have your-
if they wanted to find Lost Street and his establishment, does it put on there Lost Street?
It would have an index that would say like E9, and you could find it on the grid.
Is it just index of advertisers that?
You can
buy
do an index
paper,
of
that buy
businesses, an index of
advertising?
And
hotels,
that's
an
what they do, they
index
sell
of.
advertising to
However
cover
you
the
like
cost
to.
of the map.
Usually that's all they do, is just sell advertising and cover costs and take care of it. They don't come to somebody else who wants more money.
We're not, we're just presenting a proposal,
Yep.
so.
And so how much is it gonna cost us?
Are they gonna hand them out, or are they gonna let
We need to
you
know
hand
if you
them out?
guys are interested in this before we put too much time. If you guys
Yeah,
say we
if
don't want
you're
maps,
interested
then
in
we
it,
can drop
have-
it.
I'm sorry, Grace.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you're interested in it, we can have them come and do the proposal and explain
I
it to you.
think they ought to do like they always did. They did it for years, but the people that make these maps go to other businesses and get them to pay, and that's where they make their money. This is just money on top of money. They don't really need it.
They're not asking us for any money.
They're not asking for money, they're gonna give us money. But they're gonna ask for our backing, so when they go to sell, they're gonna say, well,
That's exactly it.
Discover
That's
Durant
exactly,
is
yeah.
recommending it.
Yeah.
And I don't know about that.
Unless you don't wanna sell ads, and we can pay them up front, as in buy out all the ads just for Discover
See,
Durant.
Usually when this happens, they're not really impressed with Discover Durant. If they're gonna come to somebody and want somebody to back them, it's not us. You know who it is? It's always the Chamber of Commerce. They're impressed more with the Chamber of Commerce. They don't even know what this is, Discover Durant. They know what the Chamber of Commerce, I don't know why they didn't come to the Chamber of Commerce, because that's the one they gotta have behind them, not us.
If I might, a couple of thoughts on this, and I've thought about it a little bit. One is, with the way things are, in terms of revenues for our businesses in town, I'm not sure I like the idea of our endorsing someone out there selling advertising in these times. I know some people want the hard copy map, but I'd be hard pressed to spend very much money on advertising, because I think it'd be a very limited market. The other thing that concerns me, and maybe this is what you were thinking too, Mr. Calhoun, is that they're representing this trust. And I'm not real comfortable with that. And I know what Grace and them are trying to say, is there enough interest? I would tell you, if you're trying to gauge interest, I don't have a lot of interest in this. Even though we might get a little revenue, I think it's just the wrong time to be out there in today's economy trying to ask local vendors or local businesses to help put this map together. It would be interesting to see what it would cost just to do the map, but I think it's going to be in excess of $10,000.
I think if they use our name or the chamber's name, that a lot of the people are gonna think, well, they're supporting the chamber, they're supporting us, and
It'd be best if you brought it up in the chamber and if the board of directors voted for it, you know, they're gonna have a lot better, easy sale to go to the Chamber of Commerce. That's where everybody knows the Chamber of Commerce.
That's just my thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, I used to get hit up all the time, somebody doing the map and,
Well, let's do this if we're going to, let's make a motion not to approve it so that we don't have to continue to put it on the agenda,
Okay.
if you don't wanna do that.
I'd make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Debbie stepped out.
Yeah, Debbie stepped out for just a minute, she'll be right back.
She can't do that. She's got to stay here to do that. She'll be back. I think it's a good idea, but I think they'd be better off on the Chamber of Commerce.
We actually have a quorum without her being here.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
so somebody else wants to do the roll.
I'll call the roll.
You call it.
Okay.
Seven.
I'm gonna approve it.
Trustee Anthony. Trustee Calhoun.
I'm voting for not considering it.
Trustee Reed, no. Trustee Thorpe.
No.
Trustee DeWald.
No.
Chairman Scher.
No.
Trustee Anthony.
Sorry, what was the motion?
It was
You say
not
yes.
to accept it.
Yeah, no.
Okay. There you go.
Thank you, sorry about that.
What's the next one, Rick?
Next one is Channel 9 out of Oklahoma City, fall getaways.
So,
Advertising.
we talked about Discover Oklahoma, and then we talked about going into Texas and all the other markets that we can hit. We've been approached by News 9. They do a fall getaway segment. And then again, after this, I'll talk about another company that's doing the same thing. They're asking for $2,000, and that gets us commercials, 2 30-second commercials, 4 30-second commercials on their other station. They produce TV and digital ads for us, banner
What's the other
ads.
station?
It's Lubbock, Fox 30 Look Around Lubbock, and they have a presentation after this one. So I just need to know if we're interested in spending money to kind of search these out and see how they go.
$2,000.
For the News 9.
I know that there's been a lot of interest by some of the trustees about wanting us to go into the Dallas market. Everything that we found in the Dallas market, we could not afford. They came to us with this. When you look at the coverage, we're going into the Tulsa and the Oklahoma City area both. Nearly covers the entire state of Oklahoma. I thought for the cost, I really feel like it's a good buy for us to test the market to see if this is something that actually brings in.
Is 9 out of Oklahoma City?
9 covers Tulsa and Oklahoma City. It was, they have coverage in both areas. It was real strange because the first one came through to discover Durant and Grace. It was for out of Oklahoma City market. And then we had the exact same proposal come from the Tulsa market, but it was the very same channel. And so when we put them together and everything, they said, that's great. You know,
Does it show in both markets?
Yes, it will show in both markets. The coverage map is on, that page is not.
The page isn't marked because
Okay,
it was a
the page
different
isn't marked,
presentation.
but it shows the coverage area, the Oklahoma City coverage map, and then that is in the light shaded area is the Tulsa area.
What page is that on?
I think $2,000 is worth a try. My deal is, if we're gonna do this, I think when we start having ads and people, signs on the highway and on this, as long as it's, shown to the board first and approved by the board, and then put it up on there.
Well, and they're going to produce the commercial.
They do?
We're not gonna have to, correct?
Right. The only issue I see with that is timing. They want to get it produced and then they want to show it, and if we're not meeting but once a
We're not
month.
gonna send anything to them from the producer.
Does that include the production?
Yes.
And this is, this is what the trial is about. Are we sending them anything so they can advertise or anything, or?
They're coming down, they're going to shoot the commercial, they're going to produce the commercial. That was the very first thing we
And
asked.
that's huge.
$2,000 is
huge.
no brainer to give it a try once. We can find out.
And it's something new that they're trying, and I think it's, the price, Jim, was what really drew me to it. Because
We want another one like this price in Dallas and one in Fort Worth.
Yeah.
well, when their markets fall, maybe they'll give us a call too. I hope.
I'll make a motion to try it.
I'll second.
Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Calhoun?
Yes.
Trustee Reed?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Yes.
Vice Chairman DeWalt?
Yes.
Chairman Shear?
Yes.
Out of Oklahoma City, we've always said it, you said it, start off with Janet. If anything does, this should be able to put heads in beds.
Hopefully.
Oklahoma City used to be a big market for this lake.
I think it still is. I don't think that we've targeted the market because of being lack of a direct lodging property on the lake. I think that's gonna help tremendously. I really
So you're gonna
do.
shoot the lake on this maybe, right? Advertising?
I don't suggest that we do for the fall unless we just do a clip of the fishing, which we already have footage of that. I'm anxious to see what they can create for us.
Sure.
That was the first thing we asked, is do you do the production? Will you produce the commercial? And they said yes, so.
Excellent.
That brings us to number 9, the Fox 34 and look around and love it.
Yep, so your next presentation is your look around Lubbock. We were approached by them as well about the same thing, but they want to do a half-hour program featuring our community, more commercials. They do the production of a 4-minute segment and a 30-second TV commercial, and then they put it on all their websites and things, and that comes right out at $1,950.
There again, I'm not sure that market is really a target for us, but This is something new that they're trying. It's kind of like the Texas bucket list, if you've watched that. But I really, for the cost, I say let's try it, because we're not
You say
going.
it's on a 30-minute program. Is it a 30-minute program about us?
No, that was not what I understood. It's a 30-minute program, very similar to what.
A series of 30-minute programs highlighting small communities across the South Plains and eastern New Mexico.
This is how much?
1,950.
How much?
1,950.
That's Lubbock, Texas. You really think we can get that money back?
They don't have any lakes out there.
Well, they don't have very many people out there either.
Well, there's a lot of people in Lubbock.
Maybe. 100,000?
No, there's more than that.
Oh.
It's about 200, the populace is about 225,000, I believe. Isn't there a Air Force base in Lubbock?
I'd rather advertise than I have one.
Texas Tech is in Lubbock.
Yeah, that's what
Amarillo is not gonna give us that prize.
There's an Air Force base at Wichita
Part of Lubbock.
Wichita Falls.
Falls. I don't know about Lubbock.
Amarillo would be good.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't give us an offer.
Well, that'll pick
So
up.
would Dallas, but we can't do it. We're not, for
Do you
whatever
have
the
a
cost
map
is.
showing their area coverage?
Not in their presentation, but they did send me just the bubble around Lubbock,
Did they call
basically.
you up and ask you for us to do this?
They did. Email. They didn't call me.
We would get a 4-minute segment featuring our community, right?
Yes.
Then they produce it. And then we get commercials,
Do you think-
30-second commercials. And 26 30-second commercials.
I don't even think that they know what during is. The only reason they would is because your son went out there. When he out there for 4 years?
He was out there for 3 years.
Well, they've got a university there.
They do have.
And it's very
You ready to
popular
go?
to people
We
around.
have, I mean.
I've already gone to the
the
university. I've
Choctaws
already gone to the
advertising that
university.
So you
market.
wanna do it without?
The Choctaws have never market on turning television.
Every market, I think.
Yeah,
Hey, Charles made a function. Tell him, Charles. You wanna do it, don't you?
Yeah, I think we ought to try
Well,
it.
then I'll second it. Let's go.
Let's vote.
And by the way, the population in 2021 was 260,993, Jim, in 21. Bigger than we thought.
Well, they just got money.
Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Calhoun?
Yes.
Trustee Reed?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Yes.
Vice Chairman DeWalt?
Yes.
Chairman Shear?
Yes. Okay, number 10. Informational signs at the electric vehicle charging station here in Oklahoma.
Danny, this was your request, so
Yes. Yes.
I've got 2 quotes from the Sign Depot in your packets, page 138 and 140. Basically, it's just a different chloroplast sign versus a metal sign. And then she also has some rough artwork, which you can't see the color, either blue or red. Basic QR code with our logo saying welcome to Durant.
How do you keep whatever you stick in there out of the weather?
Sorry.
This would be a metal sign attached to the pole.
This is what, a sign?
Yes,
Right in front of the EV charger?
right.
And that's what are you gonna do? You gonna,
Are you talking about the electrical plug, Charlie?
no, he's talking about this, how you gonna keep this from getting rained on? Are you gonna plastic coat it, or what are you gonna do?
It's
What are you gonna
metal.
It's a
do?
metal.
Metal. It's a
sign.
sign.
Yeah.
They have, lack of better words,
They're
fence posts. And they will screw onto those posts that are already there.
Okay, so it's just going on to the
Yeah.
posts that are there.
Yeah.
Okay.
What color is it gonna be?
Somebody
It's gonna be
said-
black and white.
Blue or red.
Somebody said.
blue or red.
Downtown Durant Main Street Durant.
That was me,
Yeah.
and she told me that 3 months ago, and nothing's been done.
Okay, so nothing to keep us from doing it, right?
And that's what you said you wanted to do, that's why we brought you
And so
this.
this is gonna show the events and.
Actually, the wording on that, we can
There-
change the
yeah.
wording. It really doesn't need to show events as much as it does the restaurants and the lodging property.
What it'll do is they'll scan this code and it'll take them to our website, and then
Yes.
from there, if they're looking for somewhere to,
Shops too?
It'll have all of it.
Have everything.
our
It'll have
website has everything.
Everything that we have on our Discover Durant website, everything.
I know that.
And we keep those up to date.
I know that Mike Ridgway has Durant Lumber just across the
Mhm.
street. He has people come in, use his bathrooms and talk and visit. They'd rather charge you the card.
Yeah.
Like Scott says, you have people come in your place.
Quite often.
We have people coming to
How
the
big a
chamber.
sign's gonna be?
I mean,
We do.
Big sign.
That is up to you guys. She put in 2 quotes. One is for the standard size that is out there already, but then we also have the freedom, if we wanted to do maybe like a longer, skinnier one, they can make them any size.
Blue and what else?
Blue and red.
It can't be small.
It will be at least the size of the one that's above it.
How big?
How big is that?
I think bigger is better.
About 5 foot,
No,
3 foot?
no.
And I'm not
One
even
foot?
sure that we need the
12 by
script.
18.
I'm not even sure that we need that script
We
in
won't
there.
have all those words.
Maybe just put the QR
Yeah.
code and then scan the QR code for events, lodging, or events, restaurants and lodging.
Now, this says 48 by 96, I'm assuming.
That's gonna be the skinny one.
48 by 96?
We're talking about inches? No,
12 by 18 is what's up there now, and we would
Four-
just go
four
right
by
underneath
12.
it. And we would need 4 signs.
I don't know if it's big enough.
How are people that have something like this, like I've got in my pocket, gonna scan it?
Do you have a Tesla?
What? Did you hear what she said, Charlie?
I heard her.
What'd you say?
I asked him if he had a Tesla.
I heard
You
her.
probably won't see the sign unless you have an electric vehicle,
Well,
which means you would probably have a smartphone.
It
You
don't
know,
have to do it.
It doesn't have anything to do with that.
I'll probably be one of the last ones in town that gets it, and that's when they make it.
See,
I
we just
think
know
this
it.
is, I think this is a start, but I think we need to do, I mean, that one on Law Street, that looks kind of a sketchy area.
It's
I mean,
not right.
Mhm.
I've been trying to get the light bulbs replaced. We got 2 of them replaced, but there's still one. And OG&E does them, OG&E didn't know where they were, and, I mean, it's really but we need more light there than what's there right
Yeah.
now. I mean, because even with those 2 replaced, I can go by there now.
I think the city of Durant needs to put about 3 or 400-watt LED lights out there and a nice fence in the front, out on the back side of it.
I agree.
It looks like crap right now.
I agree.
It does.
I
But
agree.
they'll put a fence and, at least 400 watts,
Yeah.
it's bright. People.
You know, while we're talking about that area, all that area back in there, there's a huge area that could be turned into parking lots. Huge area.
Talk to your city councilman about that.
They'll let you do it.
Is that on Third Street?
And it is.
The city owns a big area right across the street from.
Yeah, but you go right across there where the old Coors Warehouse is, that belongs to the railroad. And
But they'll let
Where the
you use it.
what?
For a price,
Oh, I bet a large prize too.
a big price.
They might not take it.
Have you asked them?
I make a motion that we do go ahead with, we pursue the, signage for the EV stations.
And what size?
Mine would be the, recommendation of the second one, the rectangular, not the,
What'd
The
you say?
Yeah, I agree with Rick.
Standard or unique? Do you want the standard rectangle sign, or do you want
Standard,
something
the
a little
standard.
different? Okay.
And that's for 4 of them,
Yes.
2 at each location,
Yes.
correct?
It'll be about
What
$300.
And what size?
It's,
12 by 18.
12 inches wide by 3 inches tall. That doesn't sound right.
Grace, did you say there was an option for metal?
Yes.
And where
And
is
it's
that?
12 inches wide?
I thought these were all metal. But
She
One
quoted,
says
she
chlor-
quoted
oh,
chloroplast and metal.
I'd say the metal one is what we
Yeah,
need.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
definitely.
see it now. Um,
That would be a page 138 rigid printed sign
I'm not
for
sure.
12 by
I'm
18.
not reading this
What
right.
size is a sign, Janet?
It is the
Are we looking at option 3?
Yes.
1, 2, or 3?
option 3.
Okay, what is it?
It's the second one. This would be it, and it's very similar to the signage that's out there, correct?
You're talking
It's
about
already
8 and a
there.
half by 11?
Yeah, about an 8.
So it's just gonna be this size?
12 by 18.
But you don't need it a lot larger than that, Jim, because it's going to go on each one of those where the charging stations are.
There's a lot of old people driving those things.
Well, they have the instructions on there. If that was above it, yeah, we need some type of signage.
Yeah.
And this
I
is a
think so,
start.
yeah.
I'll
I'd rather
second.
be about 2 or 4.
And this is, I mean, for $262.50.
Yeah.
I think the metal ones though are $349.32.
Correct.
I must be missing something.
They last
in
longer.
mine.
It's on the back.
Page 138.
Page 138, option 1 is your metal sign, the standard size that they
And
suggested.
it's a 12 by 18, Jim.
What?
12 by 18.
And that's full
Think
color.
that's enough?
Yeah. I've not made it.
They're
I did have-
$87.33 per unit, per sign. So the total cost would be $349.
Plus installation,
Plus
which
install.
is
Yeah,
item
plus
number
installing
3.
it.
So that's how many signs?
4.
So that tells
2 at
me
each
what?
station. It would be $349.32.
And then 262 for installation.
No, for 4 signs.
What is that?
Does it include the post?
Well, she has a
The
motion.
posts are already there.
Who owns the post?
The city does.
Okay, I'll make a motion. As long as you got.
She already made a motion.
What's
I'm
that?
gonna bring my husband's hearing aids next time.
But no, we're talking about, now, let's explain, we're talking about metal signs.
Metal
Yes.
stuff.
And what size?
12 by 18,
Okay. I second.
Report.
or 12 by 14.
It's 12 by
Hands
18.
down.
Thank you, Danny. 12 by 18.
Option 1 on page 138.
Thank you.
Okay.
Plus
Thank you.
install.
Let's install.
Yes, and that's with them installing it
We got a
too.
motion second, she's not saying anything.
Who can get a word in? Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Calhoun?
I've got a question first. Everybody else was talking, I didn't get a chance. What's mat, per mat, stock material?
Go back to it.
I'm not a sign person, I don't know, but that's just standard.
Is it
That-
metal?
Yes, it's metal.
Yeah.
That's the one we voted
That's,
on, is the
that's
metal.
one, that's the first
The
one.
first one.
There's 3 options, and the first option is what we're voting on.
Well,
Actually, there's 2 and then the installation.
Right.
So we got rigid printed sign that would wear out limit and for this metal one, and that's what the motion was for.
I don't understand option 3, non-electric sign installation.
That's just the install, Danny. That number 3 down there is the cost of the installation.
Oh. Wait, that's cost of installation?
Don't worry about me and Charles.
And then we got the cost of the sign, $349.32,
Yeah.
For all 4.
Plus the install.
and then cost of installation is gonna be $262?
No, 4 installations. Quantity 4 installations,
Yeah, for,
and that's $262.50.
hell.
This is a different
I'll screw
bid.
those onto the post for less than that.
We can probably also do that.
Yeah.
She just quotes everything for us.
you're gonna have to drill them too.
I've got a drill.
Okay.
We have a
Okay.
volunteer.
Okay, so Danny's gonna hang them.
Got it.
All right. Trustee Reed,
Yes.
trustee Thorpe,
Yes.
vice chairman Duval,
Yes, did you
chairman
get
chair.
some?
Yes.
Did you get that?
Yes, I got his.
Okay.
That we were before the discussion.
Okay, okay. Then we went sideways.
I don't get to vote.
Yes, we had already voted it too. You said you had a question. You said, yes, I have a question.
Ask
Well,
it again.
the yes that I said wasn't a vote.
Okay.
But I say yes.
Okay, got my point. Okay. All right, what's next?
Okay.
Number 11.
Number 11,
Oh,
designated TV channel for hotel TV. We got any information?
I did see Jeff Beck, who is a representative from this area. I finally got a hold of him. And he told me that he knows what we're talking about and that he would try to find someone from Vibe that could get back with me on it.
Oh, he's not from Vibe?
He is with Vibe, but that's not what he does. But he said he would locate
Yeah,
someone.
when I talked to them back in September, they have quite a few places that's got a community channel like that.
Right.
So, you know, I don't know what it's called.
But someone's supposed to be getting in touch with us from Vibe.
We've got a captive audience in other places, and, well, I mean, it's a place to get them for all these events and everything, so.
Okay.
That's all we know yet, right?
So I'd say table, let's table it.
Okay. Number 12 is the table, contract for lawn maintenance. Anybody here talk about that?
I want to make a suggestion that we go ahead and we vote no, so that we don't have to continue to table it until we can sit down and come up with a plan that we want to present. We can't bid that property out because it's not ours, it belongs to the city. So there's no way that we could even let a
Actually,
contract.
Some of that doesn't belong to the city, it's the state and the federal government that's got.
But didn't he
Some
tell
of
us,
it.
that they had the contract with the city when they had turned that over? That's what I thought.
They had the contract with the mowing company.
No, that when they turned over, when ODOT released that to the city, those clover leaves became part of that.
Well, what I understand, they're talking about coming back through here and extending. They're gonna extend to the river, what they got in clearing, they're gonna extend north. And when they go across the highway there, or our main street now, and the railroad track, they're gonna take those out and build new ones.
They're scheduled to be replaced in 25. Those bridges are scheduled to be replaced in 25.
Which bridge?
Both of them, one over Arkansas, one over Main
Yeah.
Street.
So with that being said,
Kind of a moot point.
it's, yeah,
But
it's
that's
kind of a
just, that's
moot
just the
point.
bridge. The grass is still ours to cut. It's inside the city limits. If we want it cut, it's ours to cut. Just like
I
we
would
cut
feel good.
alongside the highway.
The first year was $100,000, from then on it was about $40,000 for them to keep it right.
We bought some equipment. I'm not sure what the numbers
I
are.
think on our contract, it started out $100,000 first year and what, $40,000 from then on?
Well, I think there were some people that complained about the fact that they weren't mowing enough, and if you go out there and look, they've mowed a whole lot more now.
And they do a good job, and I don't want to just say, let's just.
But we're not giving them anything. The contract is null and void. That's not what I'm saying. Our contract is already null and void.
Sure it is, but.
Because we voted to discontinue the contract. What I'm saying, Jim, until we sit down and make a plan, if we take this off, which we've got to vote on it to take it off of the agenda, if we do that, then we're not gonna have to continue to put it on there until we actually sit down and come up with a plan that we want to present to the
I
city.
think we ought to leave it on there so it'll be
Yes.
in our,
Then make a
Yeah,
motion.
Yeah, we don't want to.
Make a motion.
I make a motion that we table it till the next meeting.
Okay?
Okay.
My second.
Okay, we got motion, good vote.
Hmm? No, we don't have to, no, we don't have to have a motion.
Okay.
It's tabled.
Okay. Number 13, election for the board chair for Dteda.
Mr. Chairman, can I take these, Mr. Calhoun had made a suggestion, which I don't think is a bad thing, and I don't know if we can do this all at once or if we have to do it with each one. But DIA, we are still vacant one person on our trustees, and hopefully soon they will get that replaced. Can we possibly wait until they replace that person until we do the election of
We're
officers?
already over one month, so we should well go ahead and do it. We need to just finish this up, and that way it'll be for next year, and then come back in July.
Jim, I thought that was your suggestion.
Dude, it wasn't my suggestion. I'm ready to go vote. Aren't you?
I'm gonna have to,
Well,
we've got an appointment.
I know, and
It's on there, so let's go. I'll make a motion on Danny being chairman next year.
I'll second that.
Let's do a vote.
Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Calhoun?
Yes.
Trustee Reed?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Yes.
Vice Chairman DeWalt?
Yes.
Chairman Shear?
Yes. Okay. Number 14, co-chair.
I make a motion that we retain Scott DeWalt as co-chair.
I second it. Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Calhoun?
Abstain?
Trustee Reed?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Abstain.
Vice Chairman DeWalt?
Yes.
Chairman Shear?
Yes. 15, board treasurer.
I'd make a motion that Debbie Anthony remain our board treasurer.
I've got a question on this one. You said you'd take it before if it was temporary. Now, this is making it permanent.
What I'd like to do is have you temporary still, and if we get one from the DIA and it's a banker,
Yeah,
I'd
amen to
rather
that.
go that way because he's
I'm all for
better
that.
than me and you both.
Yeah, I'm
But
all
I'm
for
just
that.
saying temporary until we get another board member, we can always come back and do
That's
it
kinda
again.
what she was probably wanting to wait.
If that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
So I make a motion that you be a temporary one, and depending on who.
I don't think we can do that because that's not what the motion states. Or I'm sorry, that's not what the agenda item is. If we want to do that, Debbie can resign her position and then we can put someone in there. But I
Oh,
think,
see what
you see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I don't think that,
I make a motion that we table that until the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, if we table it.
Maybe
If
I had
we
already
table
made a
it-
motion.
Oh, yeah.
I'd already made a motion.
Scott had already made a motion.
Sure, yeah.
I didn't hear the motion, I'm sorry.
I made a motion that Debbie Anthony maintain the position as treasurer.
And you're saying what, if we decide not to do that and ask her to resign?
We don't need to ask her to resign. If Debbie decides to resign, then at that time we can get a new treasurer.
And so what you're saying, make her the treasurer now, a DA member that's a banker comes on, if she decides to resign, then we could come up.
I think right now all we're doing is voting on her being the treasurer.
Yeah.
Did you make
I
a
made the motion.
I second.
Okay.
Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Calhoun?
Abstain?
Trustee Reed?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Okay.
Vice Chairman DeWalt?
Yes.
Chairman Shear?
Yes. Board secretary. I make the motion that Debbie Anthony be board secretary.
I second.
Can I make Grace? No, I'm just
Now, is she gonna be the treasurer too?
Yeah.
And
It's
and
same
the
thing,
secretary?
the same thing she's been doing.
Right.
When we get somebody else, I would imagine she would gladly resign being treasurer and we'll make somebody else treasurer. Okay.
Okay. Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Calhoun?
Yes.
Trustee Reed,
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe,
Yes.
Vice Chairman DeWalt.
Yes.
Chairman Shu.
Yes. Okay. Informational items, marketing activity report.
In your packet, I have put in our June and July numbers from our social media and our August numbers. Our numbers are going up and they look great because of fall concert series. We finally got those all posted online. Everybody's liking and sharing those, and they are on the website as well.
Did y'all do the posters again?
Yes, I have posters in the office. I actually need to print some more, and then I'll probably bring them around, or you're welcome to come pick some up. Then on the next page is the report from Choctaw Nation about the acts coming to town.
I will make a comment, I actually noticed the sign out in the median of the concert. That
Looks
shows
good,
up a
doesn't
little
it?
better than
It does.
what has been up there.
This is not your size,
So who's it from?
It's from the
You already got yours on?
Discover Durant.
That's what we had for our time capsule event. And that's all I have.
I make
Did
a
you design
motion.
this, sir?
Second.
Grace did most of the
Thank
design
you.
on it.
Who did?
Grace.
You did a very good job. I make a motion, we adjourn.
No, we got some business here first. You still got the old business, I guess you don't have any, the new business.
Like the informational items report, you'll have
It's
to
over.
report. Okay.
You've got that.
Old business, any old business left? We have some new business.
New business.
Okay, new business.
I want to put on the next board meeting that, we need to move to, the DDA meetings will be moved to the chamber board room over in the chamber. And that way, it would be less expensive, we wouldn't have to have this around, and it would take care of that.
I thought we
Jim.
didn't pay for this room.
Jim, I would love to do that, but we do not have the media. We don't have the connection to the media
I don't think we have to
hookup.
have it.
Here's what you have to do that. You gotta go through what the open meeting law says. That's 10 days notice on all of the meetings that we've got scheduled right now for here. 10 days ahead of that, not including weekends or holidays. It has to be posted saying that it's been moved over there, and we'll have to do that every meeting.
Okay,
It comes up next year.
isn't it
But
in
we
this?
can't, all I'm doing is, I just need this.
Just to put it on
I
there.
just want that on there because we've really been discussing it, so.
Yeah,
We just want
that's
this
right.
on the next meeting, okay?
I think that's fine.
But that's what we gotta do if we decide to do that.
Okay.
I make a
Good.
motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Yes, sir.
That's all
I
I
That's
said.
second.
Oh,
We gotta determine.
everybody say yay.